So hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss the residency status of various type of assessees. So you see here, residency status is very important for determining the tax liability of an assessee, because the total income of an assessee will be determined on the basis of his residency status. So then the term residency status is used in income tax only. It is not at all used in any other fields. Okay, now we are going to discuss how to determine the residency status of various type of assessees. Assessees means how to determine the residency status of individual, how to determine the residency status of Hindu undivided family, how to determine the residency status of a firm, how to determine the residency status of a company. Okay, so first of all we are going to discuss the determination of residency status of an individual. So an individual can become resident and ordinary resident and or not ordinary resident and non-resident. It means for determination of a residency status of an individual, they are divided into three categories. First one, resident and ordinary resident. Second one, not ordinary resident. So then third one, non-resident. So first of all we are going to discuss when an individual will become resident and ordinary resident. So an individual is said to be resident and ordinary resident if he satisfies at least one of the basic conditions and both the subsequent conditions. Once again I will repeat, an individual is said to be resident and ordinary resident if he satisfies at least one of the basic conditions and both the subsequent conditions. It means there are two basic conditions are there. Out of the two basic conditions, he must satisfy at least one of the two basic conditions. So then there are two subsequent conditions are there. He must satisfy both the subsequent conditions. So then only he is called as the resident and ordinary resident. So first of all we are going to discuss the basic conditions. There are totally two basic conditions are there. First basic condition is that an individual must stay in India during the previous year for 182 days or more. It is first basic condition. Once again I will repeat, first basic condition is that he must stay in India for 182 days or more during the previous year. So second basic condition is that he must stay in India for 60 days or more during the previous year. In addition to this, he must stay in India for 365 days or more during 4 previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. One thing you must remember, we must go through the second basic condition only when he fails to satisfy the first basic condition. If he satisfies the first basic condition of 182 days of stay in India, we need not to go through the second basic condition. If he fails to stay in India for 182 days, then only we must go through the second basic condition. Second basic condition says that he must stay in India during the previous year for 60 days or more. In addition to this, he must stay in India for 365 days or more during 4 previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. It means second basic condition includes two sub conditions. First one, stay in India for 60 days or more during the previous year. In addition to this, stay in India for 365 days or more during the four previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. So actually it is about the two basic conditions, but one thing we must remember that there are two types of individuals are there who are required to satisfy the first basic condition only. It means second basic condition is not applicable to them. First basic condition means they must stay in India for 182 days only. 60 days rule is not applied to them. So now I am going to give who are those persons. First one, in case of an Indian citizen who is going outside India as a member of Indian ship or for the purpose of a job, in this case he must stay in India for 182 days or more during the previous year in which he is going outside India. 60 days rule is not applicable to him. Second one, In case of an Indian citizen or person of Indian origin who is living outside India for a long time and comes to India during the previous year on a visit, in this case he must stay in India during the previous year for 182 days or more. These two persons are not covered by the second basic condition. They are required to satisfy the first basic condition only. So these two exceptions we must remember. This is very important one. So then we can say that an individual is said to be resident if he satisfies at least one of the two basic conditions. So then after satisfying the at least one of the two basic conditions, an individual to become resident and ordinary resident in India, he must satisfy both the subsequent conditions. There are two subsequent conditions are there. They are also called as the additional conditions. He must satisfy both the subsequent conditions or additional conditions. So what are those additional or subsequent conditions? First subsequent condition is that he must be resident in 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. Once again I will repeat, he must be resident in India in 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. Resident means who satisfies at least one of the two basic conditions. So second subsequent condition is that he must be in India for 730 days or more during 7 previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. It means before previous year, whatever 7 previous year, preceding 7 previous year comes, in those 7 previous years he must stay in India for 730 days. So then finally we can say one decision that an individual is said to be resident and ordinary resident only when he satisfies any one of the basic conditions and both the subsequent conditions. So then there are certain rules are there for calculation of days of stay in India. One very important point you must remember that for calculation of a number of days he is stay in India during the previous year, we must consider both the date of entry into India, the date of exit from India. Both the dates are included. That is the very important one, because while determining the residency status, counting of days is very important one. So we must include the date of entry into India as well as the date of exit from India. We must include both the dates. It is a very important point you must remember. Another very important point you must remember that I told you that exceptions to the second basic condition of 60 days, those exceptions are not applicable to the foreigners. You must remember. So this is all about the residency status of residency status of individual. So then now we are going to discuss about when an individual will become not ordinarily resident. So then an individual is said to be not ordinarily resident only when if he satisfies at least one of the basic condition but does not satisfy the both the conditions. Once again I will repeat, an individual is said to be resident, not ordinarily resident, if he satisfies at least one of the basic conditions but does not satisfy both the additional conditions. Third one, non-resident. An individual is said to be non-resident if he does not satisfy any of the basic conditions. It means if he does not satisfy any of the basic conditions, so then he will become the non-resident. It is about the residency status of individual. Now we are going to discuss the determination of residency status of Hindu undivided family. So then while determining the residency status of Hindu undivided family, so there is only one basic condition is there and two subsequent conditions are there. It means a Hindu undivided family will become resident or ordinary resident only when it satisfies the basic condition and both the subsequent conditions. The one basic condition is that the control and management of its affairs has been situated in India during the previous year, either wholly or partly. Once again I will repeat, the control and management of its affairs during the previous year must situate in India either wholly or partially. It is the basic condition. So subsequent conditions are there. First subsequent condition is that its karta, because Hindu undivided family will be managed by its karta. So then its karta must be resident in 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. Second subsequent condition, its karta must be in India for 730 days during 7 previous years immediately preceding to the previous year. It means finally we can say that a Hindu undivided family is said to be resident and ordinary resident if it satisfies the basic condition and both the subsequent conditions. Second one, not ordinarily resident. A Hindu undivided family is said to be not ordinarily resident if it satisfies the basic condition but does not satisfy both the subsequent conditions. So then one, non-resident. A Hindu undivided family is said to be non-resident if the control and management of its affairs is situated wholly outside India during the previous year. Once again I will repeat, a Hindu undivided family is said to be non-resident if the control and management of its affairs has been situated wholly outside India during the previous year. So it is about the residency status of Hindu undivided family. So next, residency status of firms. But one thing you must remember that only individual and Hindu undivided family can become resident, not ordinary resident, and non-resident. But actually, in case of partnership firm as well as company, they will become only resident and non-resident. Not ordinary resident status is not applicable to them. So now we are going to discuss how to determine the residency status of a firm. So a firm is said to be resident if the control and management of its affairs has been situated in India either wholly or partly during the previous year. It is the first basic condition. So then it is said to be resident. So then non-resident. So then a firm is said to be non-resident if the control and management of its affairs has been situated wholly outside India during the previous year. So it is about the residency status of a firm. So now we are going to determine the residency status of a company. So it is very important one, residency status of a company. So then first of all we are going to discuss when a company is said to be resident. So then a company is said to be a resident, first one, if it is a Indian company. It means if a company is a Indian company itself, it always become the resident. It is immaterial whether its control and management is situated in India or outside India. It is not a material fact here. But as it is a Indian company, it always become resident. Second one, in case of foreign company, it is said to be resident if the control and management of its affairs has been situated wholly in India during the previous year. So next we go through the non-resident. A company is said to be non-resident if it is not an Indian company and the control and management of its affairs during the previous year has been situated wholly outside India. Once again I will repeat, non-resident means if it is not an Indian company and the control and management of its affairs has been situated wholly outside India during the previous year. It is about the determination of residency status of a company. But for become 5th semester students, in your examination 1 5 marks question will be asked on determination of residency status of individual, and 2 marks theory question will be asked for determining the residency status of individual. So overall, one thing you must remember, for all the income tax studying students, determination of residency status is very important one, because we can be able to compute the total income of an assessee only when we are having a clear idea about the residency status. So students, it is all about the determination of residency status of various assessees. Out of this, determination of residency status is of individual is very important one, because in your examination the practical question will be given on residency status of individual. So then in next videos So I am going to work the some practical problems on determination of residence status of individual. Okay, thank you students.